Trump just discovered Obama's team of secret police after walking in on what they were plotting at the White House by Prissy Holly for Freedom Daily. Ever since Trump took office, Barack Hussein Obama has been doing everything in his power to take our new president out. Trump has constantly been plagued with leaks coming from spies that Obama has implanted throughout the White House, where our top intelligence keeps winding up in the hands of the liberal media. In addition to constant leaks, we learned earlier this week from a rogue United Nations official that Obama is actively engaging in a coup d'etat against President Trump, which is the first time this has happened to a sitting president in our nation's history. As Obama continues to break federal law as a civilian by meeting with foreign diplomats to plot for Trump's removal, a startling development has taken place, revealing that Obama has a team of secret police at the White House that have been quietly doing his bidding from the moment that President Trump was sworn into office. We've learned in recent months that the FBI is riddled with Obama's minions and has transformed into the rogue criminal arm of Obama's shadow government. The FBI is now fully operating as essentially Obama's secret police, as these law enforcement agencies are now doing the bidding of slimy politicians rather than upholding their oath, which is to pursue impartial justice on behalf of the public. Now, an attempted political coup on the part of Obama's secret police in the form of swamp creatures, Robert Mueller and Peter Strzok, is actively taking place, and their illegal coup to remove President Trump from office is now being exposed once and for all. What most people don't realize is that Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation is highly illegal. In order for an investigation to even be launched against the president in the first place, the Department of Justice's regulations first require a crime to be committed. Yet no crime has ever been named in order to even justify the special counsel appointment to even take place. Strzok and Mueller have not only launched an illegal investigation into Trump, but are now attempting to fabricate material as a pretext to demand his impeachment as they try to engineer and fabricate crimes against Trump in order to justify this ongoing witch hunt. One shining example of this was the guilty plea that these two swamp creatures were able to attain from General Flynn that stems wholly from the FBI deceptively interviewing Flynn under false pretenses, then catching him in a misstatement when he didn't even realize he was being interviewed as part of a criminal trap. Natural News exposed, but the revelation of this entire investigation into President Trump being highly illegal is just the beginning of the scandal. Now Obama's rogue secret police, aka these crooked FBI officials, are now engaged in a massive cover-up, blocking damning information on Peter Strzok to make sure it doesn't go public, because they know this information would nullify the entire investigation. The FBI blocked all information on its website about a top counterterrorism official who was kicked off of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation for sending politically biased text messages to an FBI lawyer, reports the Daily Caller began. It was revealed on Saturday that Strzok was removed from Mueller's team in August after the Department of Justice's Inspector General discovered that he had exchanged anti-Trump and pro-Hillary text messages with his mistress, an FBI lawyer named Lisa Page, who also worked on the Mueller team via the Daily Caller. The revelation of Strzok's biased texts is significant because of his central role in both the Russia investigation and the Clinton email probe. As the FBI's number 2 counter-terrorism official, Strzok helped start both of the investigations. He also conducted interviews with former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn in the Russia investigation and with Clinton and several of her top aides in the email inquiry. Now Mueller and his team of swine are in serious trouble, as Fox News is now exposing that the FBI is facing contempt charges from Congress for conspiring to keep evidence proving that Strzok was a crooked anti-Trump official that had been placed on Mueller's team to ensnare Trump at all costs, proving that President Trump never stood a chance at a fair investigation. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes had demanded the text messages between FBI counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, an FBI lawyer with whom Strzok was romantically involved, reports Fox News. House investigators have long regarded him as a key figure in the chain of events when the Bureau in 2016 received the infamous anti-Trump dossier and launched a counterintelligence investigation into Russian meddling in the election that ultimately came to encompass FISA surveillance of a Trump campaign associate. Today, Robert Mueller leads the most corrupt, criminal, and treasonous coup d'etat in American history, warns the Gateway pundit. Today, the FBI that Mueller ran is in shambles. No one with an ounce of common sense believes that the FBI exhibits integrity, and this is in large part because of the actions of Robert Mueller and his close allies who recently led the FBI. President Donald Trump ripped the double standard in how 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton was treated and how Michael Flynn, his former national security advisor, was treated, reports Corruption News. So, General Flynn lies to the FBI and his life is destroyed, while crooked Hillary, on that now famous FBI holiday interrogation with no swearing in and no recording, lies many times and nothing happens to her? Rigged system or just a double standard? Trump tweeted. The FBI is absolutely out of control at this point, and it clearly considers itself above the law and is merely working as the arm of Obama's rogue criminal secret police. These crooked swamp creatures have absolutely no interest in justice and simply existing to do the bidding of Barack Hussein Obama, who continues to prove how far he's willing to go to have Trump removed as president, where he continues to break federal law by meeting as a civilian with foreign officials behind President Trump's back. Absolutely. It is a rigged investigation. And he's corrupt and he wants a meal ticket. You know how much he's raking in from the taxpayers' money on this bogus Russia collusion thing. Let me know.
Thank you, Chairman Goodlatte. Director Wray, somewhere today, a group of our fellow citizens will be asked if they can be fair, impartial, free of bias before they sit in judgment of others on a jury. Even in the smallest of courtrooms where there are nothing but empty seats and no television cameras. Somewhere today, those selected to sit in judgment of their fellow citizens will be told that they must wait until the very last witness testifies and the last piece of evidence has been introduced and to deliberate on an outcome. So if our fellow citizens should be impartial and free of bias, and if our fellow citizens must wait until the last piece of evidence is introduced, the last witness is called, before they can reach a verdict, a conclusion, an outcome, then I don't think it's asking too much that the Department of Justice and the FBI do the same thing. There is no member of Congress who holds the department and the Bureau in higher esteem than I do. There are others who hold you in high esteem, but I would take second place to no one. And I have defended the department and the Bureau when, frankly, it was pretty damn lonely to do so. When my Democrat friends were asking that Jim Comey be prosecuted for a Hatch Act violation about this time last year, they now want him canonized, but this time last year they wanted him prosecuted for a Hatch Act violation. When your predecessor sat right where you're sitting, and was embroiled in a fight with this little tiny startup company called Apple, I was on the side of the Bureau. When there are calls for special counsel, even today, I reject them because I trust the women and men of the Department of Justice and the Bureau, the professionals that we hired to do their job. And the vast majority of line prosecutors and line agents are exactly what you described in your opening statement. They are exactly what you described. But unfortunately, the last 2 years have not been good years for the Bureau, and they have not been good years for the department. We had an attorney general meet with the spouse of a target of an investigation on the tarmac and asked that an investigation be called something other than an investigation, but be called a matter. We've had an attorney general recuse himself from the largest, most significant investigation currently in his office. We had the director of the FBI appropriate a major charging decision away from the Department of Justice because he was concerned that the public wouldn't have confidence if the Department of Justice handled that decision themselves. We had an FBI director write 2 politically volatile letters weeks before an election. We had an FBI director memorialize conversations he had with the President of the United States because he didn't trust the President's recall of those conversations. And I think what frustrates some folks is when Director Comey wanted special counsel for President Trump, he leaked one of those memos. When he didn't have confidence in Loretta Lynch, we didn't hear a word about it. There were no leaks that prompted special counsel when he didn't trust Loretta Lynch. There were leaks when he decided he didn't trust President Trump. We've had an acting AG fired. We've had the director of the FBI fired. And we can't manage to find prosecutors who haven't donated to presidential candidates. Out of all the universe of prosecutors that you used to work with and I used to work with and Johnny Ratcliffe used to work with, we can't find a dozen that haven't donated to major political candidates. And now we have Special Agent Strzok. It was the Inspector General, not the Department of Justice, not the Bureau who found these texts. It was the Inspector General. And I share your confidence in his objectivity. I share it. But it shouldn't have been the Inspector General that had to bring this to our attention 12 months after it happened. And that same agent is the one who reportedly interviewed Secretary Clinton in an interview that you and I have never seen conducted that way before. To have potential witnesses and potential targets sit in on a witness interview, I appreciate your professionalism and your unwillingness to want to say how unprecedented that is. So I'm not going to ask you. I'll just tell you, it's unprecedented. And that same agent is alleged to have been the one that changed the language. You're right, they are synonyms. Extremely careless is a synonym for grossly negligent, which begs the question, why change it? But you and I know why it was changed. It was changed because the statute says grossly negligent. And if you're not going to charge someone, God knows you don't want to track the statute with the language that you use. That would be stupid. What's also stupid is to interview the target. That memo was drafted before the last witness was interviewed. Director, it was drafted before the target of the investigation was even interviewed. Which makes people wonder, was the decision made before the interviews were finished? And now we believe that that same agent is also involved in the investigation into President Trump and his campaign and may have interviewed Michael Flynn. That hasn't been confirmed, and we don't know what role, if any, he took in the preparation of documents for court filing. So I'm going to say this because I'm out of time, and I appreciate the chairman's patience with me. You have a really important job. When all else fails in this country, we want to be able to look to the FBI. We want to be able to look to the Department of Justice. When all the other institutions we trust, including Congress, appear to be broken, we want to be able to look to you. It's been a really bad 2 years. I am counting on you to help answer our questions in Congress, our fellow citizens' questions, but I am more than anything counting on you to go back to work for that blindfolded woman holding a set of scales that really doesn't give a whit about politics. That's the FBI that I want.
The gentleman has expired.
Chairman,
the director
Mr.
is
Chairman,
welcome to respond.
Just a 30-second response. First, let me say, Congressman Gowdy, I'm well aware of your longstanding support for the Bureau and the Department, and I want you to know we appreciate it. And second, I want to assure you and every other member of this committee that there is no scenario under which I would have taken the President's nomination if I were not committed to the kind of independent, impartial, objective, and professional pursuit of the facts. I wouldn't be here if I weren't committed to that, and I can give this committee that commitment.
The chair recognizes the